Alright, hi. So it is my goal to figure out how to switch it to the screen this time. But my name is Brianna Willis. I'm a senior at Eastern. I'm 21. My major is elementary education. After college, I hope to get my literacy certification from EKU, and then in a few years, go back to get my master's through an online program at Western in speech language pathology. And besides that, I run my own business. I'm in a sorority on campus. I was previously helping lead an all-women's ministry on campus. Let's see. I love to read. I love to work my business. I love to go hiking and do just lots of fun things with friends. And I love iced coffee. But I guess that's enough personal information so I don't bore anyone and get to the actual point of this. So it worked, I think. So this is my survey of grammar beliefs. So this was just kind of some things that I had a better understanding of after reading the textbook chapter. I was a little unsure because my background of grammar is what I learned in school, and it mainly consisted of worksheets, and it seemed that teachers kind of just expected you to know these things, but grammar is something that I have struggled with. I did score it lower on the scale of how confident I am about my grammar skills. I did give my writing skills a higher score because when it comes to just writing and being assigned that, it's always been easier for me. I have always scored pretty high on my writings, which is funny since sometimes I struggle with my grammar, but I've always gotten good reviews and good scores on everything and lots of like high praise comments from teachers, which is kind of nice just to know like there's one good thing that you're good at in school, because sometimes I have test anxiety, so it's nicer and more enjoyable for me to do projects and to write essays and things like that, to create presentations. That's something that I feel more strongly about. So on these rate yourself from the disagree to strongly disagree, I approached a lot of these with some things that it said in the textbook, and I looked at it as the student is going to be involved in their learning more so than just being taught through direct instruction. So for like a lot of these, I described it as, if they're just being taught grammar to learn the correct way to speak and write, it's very technical. And I believe it should be something to like help students in life, especially since reading and writing are everyday skills that people use. And that was kind of just seen throughout my responses in this, especially with the standard English. Just seeing that it could be very limiting and strict to what students could learn in school, and thinking about how when something has rules, like for me as a young student, it felt very restricting. It gave me a lot of anxiety because I was worrying more about the rules than anything else. And then for the rest of them, I did not think that the consulting handbooks and grammar books was the right way to learn the correct way to speak and write, but through real experiences. I mainly take this from the fact that I did used to take Spanish, and we did a lot of grammar work, mainly just through practices like handbooks and grammar books, and it was very hard for me to understand like the different tenses in the language and to figure out the best way to conjugate verbs and to put sentences together and what would be like the correct grammatical form, since Spanish is usually like written backwards, so then you have like the idea in your English brain, but then you have to think about it in Spanish. So thinking about that, I believe real experiences are good for students to have. Also, it can help them with reading, not reading, can help them with speaking and writing when they do more experience and get to practice more as opposed to just reading about it in a textbook. I did say that there was a strong decline in today's young people. I'm actually doing my thesis on how to raise a reader, and so a lot of that is also looking at the effect of screen time. So I said here that like I babysit a ton, so I also see how screens are given to kids from a young age, and because of this, it is messing not only with like their cognitive development, but that will therefore affect like their language development. So like reading aloud and having kids like practice these things or to hear it like are very helpful, and the fact that more kids are being placed in front of screens is like a big cause of concern. So yes. And then I said that it should not just be English and language arts teachers to teach students correct English, because they use these skills in other classrooms. So even in like social studies, you will be reading, you will be writing. So those are, also things that will be worked on in other classes. And I said when it comes to correcting students, you need to look at how you are correcting a student, because if you just yell at a student, it can show that you have an authoritarian manner of teaching, and that can cause a bad relationship to start forming between you and your student, more of a fear-based one. But also it can give students anxiety when they go to talk if they think that they're using quote-unquote bad grammar. So I think relearning is a better way to look at it and to encourage the child, and thinking about a different way to say what they said, instead of just blatantly telling them that they're wrong and they have bad grammar. So I would say that probably covers everything. I don't remember exactly what all of the sheets said once I started talking, but most of what I've said has been covered in this. I guess if you want to look at my definitions of bad grammar and good grammar, they're not all that, which kind of just goes back again to me not always feeling the most confident in my own grammar. So I'm excited for this course in the terms of getting to learn more about that and to help myself feel more confident in my grammar, to therefore teach my students how to be more confident in their own grammar. So yeah, I don't know how to stop the video, but I'll figure it out.